Habarigani. Welcome. Family is supposed to be the foundation of our community. When that foundation cracks, everything built on it becomes unstable. One of the widest cracks I see today is a simple, devastating thing: disrespect for parents. This is not a small matter of manners. It is a structural problem that creates weakness in character in households and in our community. We must call it out, we must understand it, and we must fix it. Let's now examine this.
The most insightful revolutionary you will find, standing tall, revealing truth to every mind. Know the soul wisdom without a pretext. He's the best since Malcolm X. Knowledge applied, that's the real power. Stand tall, take notes. This is our hour.
Too many children and young adults are in a rush to be free. I hear it everywhere. I can't wait until I'm 18 so I can get out. That statement is not a harmless boast. It reveals a mindset that adulthood is an escape from a responsibility and from the duty of listening to authority. When a young person is in a rush to be off the hook, the moment a birthday arrives, they are learning to evade accountability. Being an adult does not mean you are free from guidance. On the contrary, it means you must carry yourself as a reflection of the values taught to you at home. How you behave as an adult speaks to the upbringing you received. It does not cancel your obligation to respect those who raised you. Look at cultures where family structure remains strong. In many African communities in Africa, young people are taught that bringing shame on the family has real consequences. In parts of Asia and South Asia, multi-generational homes are normal and children are not in a rush to leave because the community enforces standards of behavior. A woman who is 35 years old and unmarried will still live at home under the oversight of family elders without stigma. That discipline is not oppression in those societies. It is order, honor, and continuity. We have largely abandoned that approach here in the U.S., in the Black community. Instead, willy-nilly behavior has become fashionable. Children who do not learn to respect structure when they are young are far more likely to reject it entirely as adults. That is the root of multi-generational problem. Parents must be clear. It is not enough to lead by example. You must lead by good example. That phrase needs qualification because not every example is a right example. If you demand respect while at the same time you are cursing, fighting, and you engage in hypocrisy, you will get obedience out of fear, but not the deep, voluntary honor that builds character. Children need to see consistent behavior, moral clarity, and humility. When you tell a child no, do not stop there. Explain the reason. Teach the rationale. A command without an explanation is a seed without soil. Children deserve an explanation that helps them understand consequences, not a decree that forces compliance through fear alone. This is an important difference between demanding respect and commanding respect. Demanding respect is coercive. It is driven by fear or by power. A parent who demands will shout, punish, or use authority to force silence. That produces compliance, not respect. Commanding respect, by contrast, is earned. It flows from wisdom, consistency, integrity, and love. People honor a parent who stands by principles, admits mistakes, and treats others with dignity. Fear makes children obey. Honor makes them follow. That honor is what creates leaders and stable households. We have also broken the village. There is an old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I will add a question to that. Who will raise the village? A village that has been raised poorly cannot raise upright children. We are in a vicious cycle where broken generations raise the next broken generation. The village must be retrained. Neighbors, elders, churches, mosques, schools, barbershops, and community centers must all practice and teach consistent standards. If the community reclaims structure, parents will not be alone in enforcing values, and children will see the same standard reflected everywhere they turn. Do not underestimate the role of media in entertainment. Hollywood and popular television have normalized disrespect and made rebellion entertaining. Scenes that reward vulgarity, profanity, and the mockery of elders teach children that disrespect is clever, not harmful. When a child sees a character gain applause for insulting a parent on screen, the lesson is absorbed. Entertainment companies create those images for profit. They are not teaching values. We must teach our children the difference between make-believe drama and real life. We must limit exposure, explain why certain behaviors are wrong, and show them the long-term consequences of imitating the worst parts of pop culture. Now let's talk about choices of the heart. Too many young people ignore their parents' counsel about relationships. They say, I don't care what you think, I love him or her. Hear this plainly. Almost always the parents are right. I will say this bluntly. 99% of the time when a young person rebels against clear parental warnings about a partner, the relationship fails or brings lasting harm. That is not hyperbole. Experience shows it again and again. Your parents have lived longer and seen patterns that you have not. Learn from their discernment. You can listen without surrendering agency, but you should not dismiss wise counsel as if it were merely an obstacle to your desires. Some parents will say, but we are not perfect. True. So true. Many parents have their own vices, alcohol, cigarettes, and other habits that are destructive. Parents who model addiction or casual immorality lose authority even when their words are correct. If you smoke, If you drink, you curse at others, or normalize reckless behavior, you should not be surprised when your children treat those actions as acceptable. If you expect obedience, you must live differently. Change your habits. Quit glorifying vices. Teach restraint by practicing it. Tell your child why you are stopping a bad habit and make the sacrifice visible. That is how you rebuild credibility. A word about religion and moral authority. If you are a religious person, you have an additional reason to honor your parents. Sacred texts across traditions instruct children to honor their elders. But religion should not be the only basis for good behavior. Respect is a human principle that precedes specific faiths. Follow these rules because they are right, because they preserve dignity and stability, and because they protect your family. Not only or not just because a scripture commands it. If religion strengthens your commitment, good. But do not rely solely on sacred words as a substitute for moral conviction. The correct reason to act rightly is the recognition that it builds usable, honorable life. So what must we do now? Here are practical steps for parents. Raise your standards. Stop trying to be your child's buddy. Set clear house rules. Explain the reasons behind them and apply consistent consequences. Teach the difference between rights versus privileges. Be willing to apologize when you are wrong. Model self-control. If you want respect, show it first. And here's another component to this equation that is critical. In modern times, too many parents don't want other adults criticizing their children or trying to discipline their children or trying to chastise their children or trying to otherwise correct misbehavior. Too often, parents will say things like, "This is my child, not yours. Do not try to discipline my child." These parents need to be re-educated to understand that you need the entire community to help raise your child, to reinforce proper teachings and discipline. Of course, this only works if the adults involved are responsible adults themselves. So think before you criticize other members of the village. If those other members of the village are responsible adults who are good examples, then you should welcome their assistance in helping you teach your child good behavior. For children, practice humility. You do not know everything. Listen before you choose. If you disagree with your parents, disagree respectfully and ask questions. Do not use profanity. Do not walk away when elders are speaking. Remember that honor opens doors. Arrogance closes them. For the community, rebuild the village. Support parents who are trying to do the right thing. Praise young people when they show respect. Reinforce cultural practices that honor elders. Create public spaces where families are expected to behave with dignity. For media and educators, teach critical viewing skills. Help our children separate entertainment from example. Teach them to ask, is this behavior serving me or harming me? Let us be honest and firm. This is not about blind obedience. It is about restoring a moral center that protects us from chaos. It is about raising children who understand limits, who can take correction, and who will, in time, teach their own children properly. It is about restoring the cycle of honor. We can do this, but it will require sacrifice. Parents must change habits. Children must swallow pride. The community must take responsibility. If we are willing, our families will become stronger, our neighborhoods safer, and our future generations wiser. Respect for parents is not an outdated custom. It is an investment in survival. Rise and shine. Asante Sana.